There we go.
We got it figured out.
uh, yeah, I'm still getting used to these lives. This is our second. So, how's it, everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome to the second live Geeking Out episode for what are your thoughts for HBO Max's The Last of Us episode 2. I am once again joined here by my good friend Kyra's Cosplay. Oh, wow, yeah. Episode 2.
It was good.
What the fuck?
I liked it. Very screwed up, of course. I don't think we're gonna have a normal episode.
I mean, yeah, no, and I will say I do like the how each episode starts off with a flashback scene.
For sure.
And they do not they do not hold any punches.
No, I liked how they very succinctly in this flashback explained like how the virus went from just a couple incidents to widespread very quickly.
Oh yeah, and they don't explain that in the game. Like we said
No.
last time, the Fireflies, took the oh yeah, we made this, we recreated this. But in this one, it actually explains how it happened, where it happened, and what they intended to do.
Right.
To stop the spread, but clearly, and they couldn't stop it. It just spread because,
Yeah, I liked how in this one, they brought in the specialist and they had her look at the body and they're like, "Oh, what can we do?" And she's like, "Blow everything up." And I was like, "Oh, all right."
Oh yeah,
Okay.
they weren't expecting their top I can't remember what she is, but their top scientist, like, what do we do? She's like, well, just take me
Cry.
home and just bomb this country. It's pretty much. And I was so when she was looking at the body, the infected dead body that got shot in the head, I was afraid
Mhm.
that when she was putting her fingers in its mouth, pulling out the cordyceps, what they
Right.
use to infect people, I thought that thing was going to come back to life.
Yeah, that was pretty gross watching her pull it out. The like bean sprouts almost. I was like, "Oh, ew."
And then and they're just moving.
Ugh, ew. The sheer
It's
amount she was able to pull out of the mouth gives me a really disturbing imagery of like what the rest of the body must look like.
oh
Ooh.
right, yeah, right. I mean, we saw it briefly in episode 1 when that old lady was feeding on her family. We saw it come out of
Right.
her mouth, but like you said, we don't know how much exactly is
Right.
in an affected's mouth. And
Ugh, ugh.
so I guess your general thoughts. What were your general thoughts on the flashback before we're brought to present day?
I liked it. I thought it was very effective. I definitely like I said, that the expert, like I can't remember what she's an expert of, but she's an expert. I liked how she didn't pull any punches. She's like, wrong to die. That's it. Nope. Bye.
Oh God. I mean, yeah, we're all gonna die. These are who got infected at this flower factory. And yeah, that's it.
It
And
was
then,
yes, it was a lot.
place I want to be taken to see my family before. Yeah, again, this show I like the fact that this and I'm sure when they made the game, they had all these concepts of how they were going to explain, yeah, this is how the virus spreads. But, we're actually getting a general idea of, okay, yeah, this is how this all happened. It started in this country, and I'm glad they're going this direction because I don't think it would have made sense in the game, honestly.
Yeah.
Again, the show's not holding back whatsoever.
It definitely
It
felt like
scares the hell out of me.
yeah, it's gonna be some interesting shit ahead. Um, I felt like the pace of the second episode overall was slower, but it's fine by me. I still liked it.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, for 50 minutes, it wasn't it
It
wasn't
was a
bad
fast
for a
50
50-minute
minutes.
episode. Oh, yeah, no, I was like I was like it was like 20 minutes, like, "Wait, are we or wait, is this gonna be, like, a part 2?" What? Like, "Oh, okay." It led to where I thought it was, and from what I'm seeing, we'll discuss more of that later towards the end
Mhm.
of this. So Ellie Tessel have basically left the Boston QZ and are on their way to the Capitol building, which, for most parts, they kept true to a good chunk.
Right.
But, unlike the game where they're just like just bolting to the Capitol building, hiding from the federal soldiers, we see them in this building and Joel and Tess, mainly Joel, is just on edge. Like, he saw Ellie's bite mark and was like, I don't trust her. You could trust her all you want, but I don't trust her.
Yeah. I don't blame Joel for being as wary and, as grouchy as he is.
Oh no,
I
I don't blame him either.
I did like it though that, we cut from the flashback back to the show and like the first thing we see is she's just napping and they're both just staring at her.
Joel's like, I dare you to move, motherfucker. He's got them kill. He's got that kill. Like, yeah, no, I dare you to move.
I have to admit, the show did a really good job of like setting the scene or creating the environment for like what post-apocalyptic society looks like, because let me tell you, when Ellie pulls out her chicken sandwich and they're eating like cardboard rations, that is the most incredible looking sandwich I've ever seen.
That sandwich looked really cool. It's like, okay, I may have to make that now.
It's like, wow,
It's like something.
I
It's like something you get from like
underappreciate
a
chicken
fast food
sandwiches.
restaurant. I mean, Marlene really made sure that it's just like a mom who sends your kid off to school. Okay, sweetie, I packed you a lunch. Bye. And then you, like you said, you see Joel and Tess eat looks like dried up pieces of
Ugh,
jerky or something. I don't know what it was, but just like
I don't
they're
want
eating
to
that, and
know.
Ellie's like laid in this good looking fucking sandwich. Oh man. And I know some people are still not fond of Bella Ramsey, as she's a 19-year-old in real life playing as a 14-year-old, which is convincing. But I know some people
Mhm,
aren't still a fan of hers. Like, well, that's understandable. I think she's like Ellie in every way, and
mhm.
this episode exceeded my expectations on how a physical actor act to their gaming counterpart.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, for me, like, I kind of get it if maybe you're like, oh, look for her isn't quite right, but every time I see her performing and the further we get in the show, she just keeps convincing me that she's Ellie. I mean, she does everything right with the body movements and her dialogue and just her aura, I suppose.
Oh yeah, no, they introduced a lot of stuff earlier too that would have been after, you know, the after the museum, like how she said, "Oh,
Hmm.
I can't swim." It's like,
Hmm.
okay, yep, they got that right. And then Joel's just like, "You can't swim," just walks in the water's like, "Really? They didn't teach you that it's
I loved that moment. She's like, I can't swim, and he's like, it goes up to your knees, get in the water.
get in the water now. You're gonna learn today." And, again, they cut some scenes out.
Hmm.
Like I know in the game, to get through to where they need to go, they go through like this abandoned, destroyed office building. They
Hmm.
don't do that. They replace it with, Joel, Ellie, and Tess, having to get through all this rubble, all for,
Yeah.
and I really like, and some people were always jokingly pointing out, it's like, oh, it's the thing from the game. It's the thing from the game where like Joel's lifting Tess
Oh
up,
yeah, the
to
boost.
open the door. The boost, like I've seen videos where people are like, putting the button animation, like, when Joel's moving that giant bookshelf out of the way to the door so they can go on forward,
I
or like
love
when he's
that.
lifting this up. It's like, yeah, you know that the creators are like, you know what, we're on these little things that we know is everyday life, but if you've played the games, like, yeah, you know what that is.
I have to admit, I was a tiny bit disappointed that they didn't go through the office building and run into the clickers in the dark, but I was also like, listen, they also still have to go through the
I
museum
was,
where there were clickers, and as
I
long as we
was,
get clickers,
oh, just the noises every time, like when you hear them, the infected while they're walking on the overpass,
right.
and you know what that is. And once they get out of that building, the quote unquote office building, from what I'm guessing
Mhm.
what it was, and then you just see all those infected laying on
Oh,
the ground in synchronization.
I think it was a hotel in the show.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, because in the game it was an office building. Yeah, it was a hotel. Yeah, it was a hotel in the. Yeah, because Ellie does that thing in the game where she's pretended to be a
Oh, yeah, trying to be a
reception,
bellhop.
a receptionist, and a hotel employee. just like in the, you're a weird kid, you're a weird kid, and then just like it's Ellie. I feel like you know I think they definitely did the research. I know they couldn't play the. I think that like they eventually played the game. I think to get an idea, or they were being directed by Neil Druckmann
Yes.
to like this is how Ellie is. This is how her mannerisms. And I'm just like, yeah, that's Ellie. Being a little shit and a weird kid. Oh
But yeah,
man.
with the infected out in the street, I like how then they had the conversation of I think it's I think there are other kinds of fungus that'll do it. They'll just run underground for miles and miles and miles. And they mentioned that if you step on
Yeah.
a patch, because it's all interconnected, you can alert them potentially
Oh,
miles away. They're just
yeah.
coming for you.
Yeah, I think that's what Tess was saying. And at like in the ending after the credits, they're telling me the episode, and
Hmm.
that's a real life thing.
Ugh.
They're this cordycepsis, and the other thing I can't remember what they call it. That's a real thing. You know, so like it's nice to see them use the original concept that they wanted for the game instead of the sports. Because let's face it, you know, I seriously can't go every 5 to 10 minutes seeing them walking through with the gas mask, taking them off, and it's like, no, this isn't the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I totally get it from like a TV watching perspective. I wouldn't want them to have a mask on all the time. But
No, 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 no.
um I did mention clickers though, and one thing I liked that they did with
Uh,
the clickers in the museum was they were much more sound sensitive. At least it seemed to be
oh
that way
yeah.
in the game.
No, it
I mean,
no, it was. They were more sound sensitive because you see Joe like don't,
yeah, they couldn't
and then
say
Ellie just
anything.
anything. Yeah, and Ellie just like gasping, it's just like they just start freaking out.
Mhm.
And that mission in the game put me on edge. Like we had the one clicker that we have to, face. And
Mhm.
I know there's like you face then there oh yeah, they also took out the subway station scene
Right.
because they're underground and they have to get past all the infected and we get the Molotov cocktail, which I'm hoping to see. It's one of those many things we get to use in the game. I hope we see, but you never know. So I get why they took all that out because it would have been longer. It would have been more money,
Yeah.
more makeup, more things that weren't necessarily needed, in my opinion.
The subway scene in the game is like any subway scene, honestly, in that game is scary. So I can't wait to see them
Oh.
recreate something along those lines.
Oh, yeah, because oh, what is that? I don't know yet. Just by the pace they're going, it's like, okay, I can tell which episode is gonna be next and which episode is gonna be next. But yeah, I wanna talk about the clickers. I was watching the bonus features and the director, not Neil Druckmann, but the other guy who's
Mhm.
helping with the show. He did a short series on HBO Max called Chernobyl, and he brought the makeup artist from that, the special effects makeup artist on that one, to help recreate the clickers.
Ooh, that sounds fantastic.
And the best thing is the actors who are playing the clickers, like the physical actors, they're fans of the game.
There's no one better to
So
put in that absurd makeup.
I mean, and they got the motions right. How they're like, all just
Yeah, the clickers kind of have their hands and their arms bent and they kind of
and they
hobble
use
around.
the original clicker sound, which like
Yeah.
yes, they look like the clickers, they sound like the clickers, and just like the game, those bastards are hard to take down. You see
I
one get shot multiple times, and it just does not
right.
go down.
I've been replaying the game alongside watching the show so I can compare the two of them. And I recently did that museum mission. I remember I got stuck in that room for what felt like forever because I
Oh,
could
where
not
the one where
find
you're playing
the
as
exit.
the one where you're playing as Joel in the display room, sneaking past them.
Yeah. And I got stuck in that room because I couldn't find the exit door. And honestly, like as much time as I spent in that room in the game, that's how long that scene felt in the show. It's like, are we done yet? I'm holding my breath here.
Oh. Oh yeah, and then there was that. And then they did another little fake out because when they're going through the museum, they have to crawl underneath, and there's that collapse where
Mm-hmm.
Joel and is separated from Tess. They did another fake out when they once they walked through that door,
Right.
it collapsed right behind him. Was like, God damn you, Neil! Stop with the fucking fake outs. You got us with the truck, and then you got us with that door.
I find that really amusing. He's like, "Oh, you thought, but no, not really."
No, 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 no. Sorry. We're gonna do it a completely different way. Sorry.
I do like that it's not an exact replica of the
Oh no,
game. It gives
I'm
me a little
because
something to look forward to.
they I like the fact that they're taking away and adding some new things, but also still like, yeah, this is a game you remember playing
Yep.
10 years ago. Fuck, 10 years ago, yeah.
No.
November, like it's like November something. It'll be 10 years since this game came out.
Oh god. It's a long
Fuck
time
me.
ago.
But it's still faithful to in my opinion. The only thing I'm like really pissed, like, what's fucked up? I had to wait till like the last mission to get a machine gun, and Joel gets the machine gun right away.
It's a nice middle
Oh,
finger for you.
no, right? I'm not like harping on them. I get why they changed that scene up. And another thing I like is when they're actually going when they're while they're outside in the museum, you see all those the dead, dried up tendrils and everything outside of the building.
Mhm.
Like,
Disgusting.
okay, yeah, that is creepy. Like, and it's just Joel just like picks it up and like, yeah, there hasn't been any infected in here, and who knows how long. Next thing they go in, and then you see that fresh dead body.
That was
Would
fantastic. Everything in there was old and dried out, and then there was just a body.
oh yeah, because like Tess was mentioning, when it's the scenes like, why is there so many infected? They're like, well, anyone who's trying to find the Boston QZ will go inside and rest, and then next thing you know,
Right.
and I'm guessing that's what happened to him. He went inside and got the living shit torn out of him.
Yeah. I like that he was like torn apart instead of like your classic bites.
Oh yeah.
That made for some visual interest.
Oh yeah, no, I mean like in the video game, in part two when you're spoilers for anyone who's this will also have massive spoilers. Like in the part two of the video game when you're playing as Ellie and Dina going to relieve Joel and Tommy, you see that moose that got taken down.
Oh, yep. I remember that.
So like I can't imagine that had been like more to that guy that had been more than one infected.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that scene, when they're going out, and again, I do like the fact it's the little nod is when Joel and Tess are kneeling to the ground to take the stuff out of their backpacks, like the flashlights, the guns, and then Ellie's like, "Can I have?" Like, no, no, you cannot. Like twice, which is like in the game, like, yeah, we don't trust you with the gun, kid.
I love her snarky comment about, she'll kill him with sandwiches or whatever.
Oh yeah,
It's
I'll
like, good
kill
for
him with my
Ellie.
fucking sound. Yes, yes, that is the best. And so we're at the scene where we're met with the clickers. You don't, and the one thing I like, they kind of did a Jaws effect. You hear them, but you don't really see them because they're blurred out for like
Mm-hmm.
a good couple minutes while they're like trying to hide, and then there's that one that just is up in their face, and Ellie's gasping, and it's like, yep. And then just like in the game, when you make a loud enough of noise, they'll get distracted. That's like when Joel is pushing that bust against the glass,
Right.
and they're still hiding, or when Joel is like trying to be quiet when he has like the flashlight, and he's trying to like reload his gun to put the bullets in, and try to. It's like the best thing.
So stressful. Oh,
Oh
another
God.
thing I liked about the museum um, was when they left the museum, and they're like the planks of wood to get across the different buildings in the game. I like that they interpret it as scaffolding for the show. Makes a lot of sense. I love what they did
Oh
there.
yeah. And they didn't have to like grab the thing. They just it was already there.
Right. It
And
felt more
yeah.
realistic.
Oh yeah, and then the best thing is, so you know how in the game we don't get to see Ellie's immunity until like we get to the subway station where they're running from Fedra, and Joel's like,
Yeah.
"Wait, why wait, you can oh yeah, you weren't kidding. Now you can actually Ellie gets bit and
I'll need a
nothing."
gas mask.
Yeah, no, and this one they brought that scene earlier. Like Ellie gets bit by the clicker, and it's like, you know, if it was it, if it had to be any of us, it's a good thing it was me. And like you see Tess like with her face, like, yeah, we know. It doesn't just like in the game, it doesn't show Tess getting bit. But we
Right.
know in the museum she gets bit though. I
Mm-hmm.
remember I did in my through my gameplay through um when it's in the during the cutscene where it shows Tess, like shows her bite. I did a little editing to show the point where she got bite, when we're trying to get to Ellie and Tess, we see that infected, pinning Tess to like a box or something. I feel like that's
Right.
when she got bit. I don't know where in the game, where in the show she got bit, but like she's just when Joel's taking out the bandage to bandage her foot, which is a nice little nod to the game. You just
Mm-hmm.
see Tess just like mentally drained, like she knows she got bit, and when she sees Ellie's got bit and nothing happened, she's like, "Yeah, we know."
Yeah. I yeah, we didn't see her bite, but based how she was acting after they left the museum, she got bit inside was the clicker.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping we see this scene, but like, no, if they didn't show in the game, I doubt they're going to show one in the show. So, next thing we're introduced, where they finally get to the Capitol building. They don't have to like walk through a big, like a small pond to get to the Capitol building, like in the game. They're there, and then unlike in the game, how they're their Fedra got to them, they're like, we see the truck outside and we see, the Fireflies dead. Like, wait, are they dead? Did Fedra get to them? What happened?
Mhm.
And, Tess is getting all upset, like, okay, come here, kid, we're gonna give you to the Fireflies and blah blah blah. And then, almost an exact shot for shot of the museum scene, except something changed.
I love their scene recreation. It's so good.
Oh yeah. It's really good. So the museum scene, what were your thoughts on the change they did compared to how it was in the game with Fedra and everything them?
I think it makes more sense that they were infected and not Fedra. Like, because the way they set it up is Fedra's too busy in the city in the QZ working and worrying about like internal attacks, not necessarily what the Fireflies are doing out in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of infected.
Oh yeah, because in the game you're like up till that scene and then shortly after you're being constantly pursued by Fedra.
Exactly.
But then again, in the game they were detained by 3 Fedra soldiers, unlike the one.
Hmm.
And I can't remember if like how I think Joel explained, like, one of them stepped on something or got bit, and then then it just became a shootout or something. And you see Tess freaking out. It's like, oh yeah, we know what's gonna happen now.
Right.
And I love Joel's silence when Tess like reveals, yeah, like, oops, like instead of the oh Christ, Joel's just like, are you fucking kidding
Yeah,
me?
just stunned silence.
And then that infected comes to life, and Joel shoots him, and the next thing you know, the tendrils. We finally get to see the tendrils in this
Ugh,
episode.
they're so gross.
It just
I
like
hate them.
oh yeah, I think because like what the body hit the floor, and the tendrils were just like wrapping around. Is like, oh shit.
It was so gross. I think the idea to do the
Wha-
tendrils was good because we finally see them and they're more, it's more visually impactful too, but
oh yeah, because
also
like
no gas
because again,
masks.
also spores would have been spores would I just can't see it because
They're like
spores
this
would have been hard to
big. You
do.
can't see them.
No, and again, I did like the little fake out when in the show where it looked like spores, but it was just dust. And throughout this entire episode, I don't know. To me, it felt intentional. Anyone else could say, "Oh no, you're just hearing things." But every time there's like a creaking noise being made, I thought it was a fucking clicker.
I love when Tess shows her bite and she compares it to Ellie's. And then the
Oh
viewer
yeah,
who has not, lived
it
this for 20 years gets a very obvious example of what a new bite should look like
looks
versus what Ellie's looks
like,
like.
yeah, because I know in the game compared to the one, like Test show Joel's like, this is 3 weeks. This is effing fucking real. Like this, yeah, this is a new one that's like she got bit like an hour ago, and then you got Ellie's who was bit. I don't know what the timeline is going to be for Ellie's bite, but in the game it was 3 weeks.
Hmm. I think that's about what it was in the show too.
I think so. I may have to go back and rewatch it. I'm gonna have to
Oh
do that on
no,
my day
what a
off.
shame.
I'm gonna have to do it on my day off though because I am I need to I'll have to process. But yeah, no. Yeah, Tess shows she got bit. She's trying to like, say, "Hey, we need to find out where these guys are." And unlike the game says, you need to take her to Tommy's. Like, no, not going to take her to Tommy's because in the game, they don't know if Tommy's alive or not. So in the show, they said take her to Bill and Frank's. Like, wait, Bill and Frank's?
Right.
Because if I'm not mistaken, like, wait, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember playing the game, Frank's already dead, and Bill's not even mentioned, but they go to Bill's to get the to, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
they get a
am
car
actually
battery. They get a car battery in the game, and unlike the show, it's like, yeah, you don't get a battery. So it's like, yeah, take her to Bill and Frank's. Like, wait, they don't even know Frank.
I have to admit,
It's
I'm
like,
like
wait,
super excited to see Bill and Frank. Like Bill is just nuts.
oh yeah,
And I the teaser at the end of the episode kind of implies that Frank might
oh,
still be alive.
we'll get to that. You know, here, so Tess is mad. You got an infected coming, and unlike the game where she takes her stand while
Hmm.
Fedra's trying to break in, she's just like throwing, put throwing the oil drums on the ground, the grenades. She's telling Ellie and Joel to run, and they're running. They're not like walking away and then closing the door behind them to
Right.
see Tess get shot by Fedra soldiers. Just like she's just trying so hard to light that cigarette lighter and
Tess knows for sure.
oh, she went out like a fucking badass. She didn't like go out like and I hate to say this, but she went out like a fucking bitch. She went the bitch way out in the game. In the show, she went out like a fucking badass.
She's like, I'm
Except
dying
for
and
that
they're all
one
coming with me.
fucking scene. Why would you show an infected kissing her?
Ugh, yeah.
Why?
Yeah. That
I
got
just
pretty
like I thought
quickly
and
labeled the
like
kiss of death in my circles. Like, ah, oh.
ooh, just like she's still trying, and that one infected sees her with how he's slowly becoming like a clicker himself with the
Hmm.
how the fun thing is, which is a really nice, and I think that was practical. That had to have
Yeah,
been practical. It's nice seeing the different stages because they talk about the different stages in the game, but you don't see those stages. You actually
right.
get to see them. You know, you get to see the stages from infected to solo fungal to clicker to eventually bloater,
God, the
or
kiss is
in a
so
lot.
gross.
Oh, I get why they did it. They wanted that gross factor. Like, hey, and then we actually like see, and the tendrils are just coming out of his
Yeah, they're
mouth,
like, oh,
and I guess
gotta
that's
go into a new host.
yeah.
I haven't been that
So
uncomfortable in a while.
oh no, that was a bit much for my taste. Like
It was a long
still
scene.
trying to like oh yeah, no, and they didn't even show Tess like in the game. We kind of if you angle the camera, we actually see Tess getting shot.
Hmm.
They don't show that. They just show Ellie and Joel running, and next thing you know, the whole Capitol building just blows up, which I thought was a nice little touch. Like, yeah, I'm glad they didn't do what they did in the game. I kind of like how they did it in the show, where it's like Tess just finally gets her lighter, she sees it, she drops it, big explosions everywhere from the grenades to the oil drums. It's just oh yeah.
Yeah, I of course it's sad to see Tess go, but I liked her death a
I
lot.
like that
Felt
I like that they
appropriate.
fleshed her out more. I like that they fleshed her out more. Like
Hmm.
I think it was the creator's intention. Like, yeah, we actually want you to like us because you don't really get to. You really don't see a whole lot of. You don't really kind of care for Tess in the game, in my opinion. Like the show's like, you know what? If you didn't care for her in in the game, you're gonna care for her in the show. They're like, we're gonna make you feel for these characters.
It's working.
Oh, oh, it's working. I mean, I'm not looking forward to. And now, I guess before we talk about our opinions for episode 3, what was your overall thoughts, and did episode 2 exceed your expectations?
Mm, it wasn't bad. So yes, exceeded my expectations.
Hmm.
Not that I expect the show to be bad necessarily, but kind of cautious, like mildly
Oh,
optimistic, I guess you could say. I'm like, listen, I know that they have Neil Druckmann helping direct, but like, I've seen too many bad adaptations. So they hit all the major
no,
points.
oh yeah, no.
They hit all
So,
the
in
major
your overall thoughts
points.
on it,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry, didn't mean to
No, you're
overlap.
good. Um, I liked it overall. Less happened than in the first episode, but the first episode had a lot of ground to cover. I think it's a great
Oh
segue
yeah.
into the next one. And Tess's death was just the cherry on top.
Oh yeah. It was, yeah, it exceeded my expectations. Aside from it, even though it was a 50-minute episode and it felt a little fast, like, wait, why am I at like 20 minutes? Are we even gonna? Okay, good. Um, so we got to see a teaser for episode 3, and judging by the way the show was going, episode 3 is gonna be Bill and Frank. Episode 4 is gonna be that city with Sam and Henry. Episode 5 is gonna
Hmm.
be with Tommy. Episode 6 is gonna be the university with a potential, maybe. I don't know if they're gonna show it early or not, but they also may show a little bit from the Left Behind DLC with Riley. Episode 7 is going to be with David and the cannibals, and then episode 8 I think is going to be the hospital
That
in
sounds
Salt Lake
about
City.
that sounds about right. About one episode per encounter, if you will.
It feels like that's the direction they're going,
Yeah.
in my opinion, at least. And the show got approved for a season 2.
Oh boy. So
Oh,
then we're gonna have to jump into the second game.
more. Yeah, I don't know. Well, the show's done so well that, like, yeah, I think once Neil and the directors like found out, yeah, the people like the show, like, okay, I'm sure they were like wanted to do a season 2, but they wanted to see how well the show was received. I mean,
Yeah.
it was well received for episode 1, well received. Like, okay, all right, everyone, we're making a season 2 now. Pedro,
Yeah,
get
it
ready
didn't
to
take
get hit with
long.
the golf club. Oh fuck, I'm not look. I don't know how they're gonna do a season 2. If they're gonna go based off the game, if they're gonna do an in between thing, or I don't know how they're going to do it, and who knows how long before season 2 is released, because you know either they're going to have to change the act, or they're going to have to change the actor, or wait for Bella to age up a bit. I mean, in reality, Bella Ramsey is 19, and that's how old it was in part 2. She was 19.
Right.
But yeah, episode 3 trailer for it, we get to see Bill in his underground bunker. We get to see Frank. We see Bill tell, "Hey, you got to get Joel." So I'm like, either Frank may live or Frank may die, because if you played the game, you know what happens. You know what Frank's fate is. He's tired of Bill. He wants to leave. Steals the
Hmm.
battery, and then he gets bit.
Hmm.
So we may get to see their version of how Frank may bite the dust.
Yeah, I'm gonna be very interested to see if they keep him alive or he dies and just in a different fashion.
Oh yeah, because we see Bill, we see Frank fall in that pit, and in the best line delivery ever. I don't know if it was ad libbed by Nick Offerman, but when he says, "I don't want you to bring every bum around here, thinking that they're gonna get a free lunch because this isn't an Arby's. Arby's isn't free. It's a restaurant." It's like,
I I love just that teeny tiny interaction because it's just, oh, Frank's just gonna be enough of a pain in the ass for them to get along.
and it shows how old Bill and Frank are, because they both know what an Arby's is.
Right.
So it's just like that line delivery, though. I'm just like, so I imagine that's gonna be that's gonna be the introduction to episode 3,
Hmm.
is when Frank and Bill first met.
Hmm. I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait.
And then we get to see what the electric fence does to the infected. And with this being episode 3, just like the game, we may get to see a bloater
Ooh, yes.
because
I
we
can't
saw
wait
what we got introduced to our first bloater in
in the school
in the high
gym.
school in the school, and I'm wondering how their bloater is going to be because game the bloater takes off those little pods on its body and just throws it in spores. So I'm
Right.
wondering if this bloater is going to have like tendrils come out
Ooh. Oh,
because we saw
like a sea
what the bloater
monster.
looks like when they first introduced the when they had the second trailer. We actually got to see what the bloater looks like. You know, it was climbing up and everything with the
Yeah.
flames. So I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a lot of CGI. But I'm like, I'm curious on how this bloater is gonna be since they're not doing spores.
Right. I like that in our other snippet of the episode 3 preview, we see that Bill has security cameras because, well,
Oh
like,
yeah,
not only did he not have those in the game, but it does then hint that, like, his town is much
wait, he
better
had this.
off in the show than it was in the game.
Oh yeah, because in the game he just had traps.
Right.
That was it. He had
Right.
traps. He had the fridge trap, which I I said I finished the game a couple days ago, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
okay, yeah. I was like, I was playing the game like, okay, they may take that out, they may keep that, they may take out, they may, and I'm glad they're taking out but keeping certain things in to like, yeah, this is based off the game. This is exactly all up for shop for the game, but we're not going to make it exactly like the game because you might as well just play the game at that point.
Right. So, because he has security cameras, I'm interested to see what other crazy little
Oh
things
yeah.
they give him.
Well, I mean, see the electric fence and the
Yeah.
security cameras is how he finds out that Frank snuck onto his yeah his quote unquote town seems more well secured than it was in the game, which was just like something from just run down, covered with tripwires, pulley systems, and I can't wait to see the banter between Bill and Ellie because there was a lot of freaking just it's,
I love how much they dislike each other.
oh yeah, and I feel like Joel may tell Bill what Ellie has. They're gonna add.
That would be interesting. I could totally see that happening since Tess told them to go there in the first place. So I wonder
Oh
what
yeah,
Tess
yeah.
knows
Go to
we don't.
Bill and Frank's. Who knows? Another thing. So I know the premise of this shows these episodes so far. They do a flashback scene. Judging by the pace they're going, with episode 4 being, they get jumped by the hunters, Henry and Sam.
Mhm.
We either get to see me one. We get make it to see either one of two flashbacks. Joel being, being part of the ambush, or we get to. In all honesty, since they're making us feel for these characters, we may see a flashback with Sam and Henry, find out how their lives were before
Oh,
everything all went to shit in the town.
I need like a whole side series just on those two. I love them so much.
Well,
They're
I'm
just
sure,
so
but
good.
that's just my assumption.
Yeah.
What are your assumptions going further into this show? Since
Well,
that's a new thing they're
for
going to be doing with each episode.
I'm episodes 3 and 4, assuming we have Bill and Frank, and then we have the hunter episode. Those are the two I'm most excited for. I mean, hoping it's all good, but those were my two favorite encounters in the game. I would love to see a flashback of Joel as a hunter because he mentions it just really quick in passing, and I'm like, ooh, we could just see like a really dark side of what humanity's turned into at that point after 20 years of
Oh, I mean,
infection.
oh yeah, I mean, in the first episode alone, we see Joel dealing drugs for ration cars, burning
Mhm.
bodies, gonna take on a sewer job, which we never got to see.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm curious because I like the fact again that each episode they're going to show a flashback scene. The one I'm really curious if they show a flashback scene is with David and the cannibals. If they show the
Oh,
way that they're showing these
yeah.
flashbacks, it's going to be interesting to see how these flashback scenes go.
The
So I also really
cannibals
want to know how the hell. Go ahead. Sorry,
no, you're fine. The
I'm just too
cannibals
excited about the
were
show.
oh, man, me too, I can't stop, I can't help myself. The cannibals were already, like, creepy in game. I would be very excited to see how they translate that to the television with, like, special effects and makeup and whatever.
Oh yeah. And I'm curious how the hell Marlene was able to get to the hospital in Salt Lake, because I know when we last encountered her in the show, she was bleeding. There were no other fireflies. I mean, I doubt they're gonna explain how and why,
Yeah.
but I'll wait till we get to see the trailer for episode 8, because when we do this for episode 7 and we see the trailer for episode 8, I'm kind
Mhm.
of curious. So I think that should do it again for those who watch this or will be watching this. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions are in the comments. And if you have, and I highly recommend watching this. And also, if you haven't, definitely watch episode 1. So again, I think that should do it again. Kira, again, real quick, because the one thing I always forget to do since I'm starting it, mind promoting yourself by dropping those links below so people know where to find you.
Yeah, sure. I'm, Kira's Cosplay on Instagram. Kyras Cosplay.
Links to those will be in the description below, just like before. And as always, I'm Wayne the Unknown. Until next time, thank you for listening, and as always, thank you for watching.